Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm looking a little bit less like a ghost, so I thought it was time that we talk about Sofyan Amrabat and his debut performance against Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup the other night, because we didn't really go in depth on his performance during my match coverage, simply because I always plan to do this video. So today I want to talk about his strengths, what he really brought to the team, perhaps what I'd like to see a little bit more moving forward. We're going to look at some match clips. Yeah, basically, we're just going to discuss what he done, because I think, I can't even find my mouse, I think Ten Hag would have been really, really pleased with his performance. So today we need to talk about what he done so well.
So before we continue into the video, a quick shout out to today's video sponsor, JerseyFIFA.com, the home of all of the greatest football kits. Whether that be the new latest releases or the old classic ones like this, Jersey FIFA has something for everyone, and now you can check it out yourself using the link in the description down below. And also make sure to use code JerseyFIFA for 10% off when you order.
So first things first, we have the stats, and we can see straight away that Sofyan Amrabat played really well. Considering he played about an hour of this football match, to have 78 out of 81 passes is very, very good. But what I'm more impressed by is the 92 touches. This shows that Amrabat was really a high volume player, a player which was constantly involved in getting on the ball, and that's something which United really lack. But of course also that pass completion rate, 96%, is borderline unheard of for a Manchester United midfielder. I don't want to fire any shots here, but Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro, Eriksen, Mason Mount, they don't produce these numbers in terms of passes attempted in most games, but also pass completion. Now, we do have to consider that for large parts of the match, Amrabat was playing at fullback, so it isn't completely the same as playing in midfield, but still, these numbers are very, very good. And I thought it was really important for the way that United played. And I thought the big thing that Amrabat offered, because he was obviously starting at left back, but often inverting into the midfield, I felt that what he offered, no matter what system was being used at the time, was a connection point from the defence to the attack. And that's something which I've been crying out for on the channel so far this season. If you go back to my videos from earlier in the season, we done a live stream on it. I believe it was after the Wolves game. And something I was pointing out was that the distances between the United backline and the front line were far too big. And there was, just the gaps in between the lines in general were far too big. There was not enough of a connection from defence to midfield, from midfield to attack. I felt that Sofyan Amrabat really addressed that in his game. Now, once he actually got on the ball, he kept it really simple. But again, that might be what United need. People might look at it and go, well, he wasn't really that impressive. He just done short sideways passing. But I would argue that is exactly what United needs. Someone who is a master of the basics. And again, I felt that he showed that in this game. He was scanning before he received the ball every time, so it always felt that when he got the ball, he was ready with what he needed to do next. He never really looked under any particular pressure, really, when the opposition were closing him down. It felt like the match was being played at his speed. But also, United, as I always say, they need someone who just keeps the ball ticking, keeps the ball moving sideways, and keeps the opposition moving from side to side. Again, Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes are very direct footballers that look to move the ball forward quite quickly. The same for Christian Eriksen as well, who often plays in the midfield. I felt that Amrabat brought a real calm to the side. And we can see this if we go over to Once Video Analyzer Pro, by far my favourite video analysis software, which you guys can check out using the link in the description down below. I really recommend it. You should definitely check it out. But we're going to look at just probably 4 clips of short passing here and then 4 of perhaps his longer range passing. What we're going to see is that he actually just kept the play incredibly simple. But what you'll notice on this first clip here is if you look at his head here, you can see that Sofyan Amrabat is already scanning before he receives the ball. So the ball is being played by Raphael Varane. Rather than focusing on controlling the football, Amrabat is already checking his shoulder to see what he's going to do next once he receives the ball. Now what he's doing here is he's assessing where are the Crystal Palace players. So he's looking for, if I can just get the markup tool here, he's looking for what are these sorts of players here doing? When I get the ball, where are they going to be? How much pressure am I going to be under? Now, again, this might seem like a really basic thing to do, but again, it's that case of mastering the basics, because it means that when the ball actually eventually gets over to him, he already knows where the Crystal Palace players are, but more importantly, he also knows where his teammate is as well, making this next pass very, very easy. It's a very simple pass, alright? We don't need to get overexcited about this. But I just think it's something which a lot of United midfielders don't do. If we go to Casemiro, for example, one of my major concerns with Casemiro is that he doesn't ever seem to be aware of what is around him. Now, Amrabat was never really under any pressure, but what scanning allowed him to do was know his next pass before he even got the ball. and that allows him to maintain a high tempo. And it's basically what we saw for the whole first half, really. Again, this is all really simple stuff which he's doing. Again, he's just receiving a really short, simple pass. He just gets the ball in 2 touches, he's moved the ball on. It's very simple, it's nothing that impressive, but it's something which United desperately need in their midfield. We've got it again here, he's just taken a couple of touches. What other players for United might have looked to do is maybe force this pass forward through the lines into someone kind of an ambitious pass, which is never really on. You lose possession, defend a counter-attack. Amrabat kind of assesses the situation, decides this forward pass isn't really a proper option, so instead just decides to keep the ball. Now, of course, this is only good to a certain extent. Moving forward, we want to see more progressive passes to his game as well. But this is also a side which is desperately needed for United, and that's why I was so pleased with this performance. Because so often, rather than trying something particularly impressive, he was just keeping the passing game so simple. He was being that connection point. So, again, what we've seen in the opening weeks of the season is, of course, just a poor performance, a poor team performance, poor individual performances for United. But it has often felt like it has been a lot of individuals on the pitch because, again, there hasn't been connections between the different units of the team. It's felt like the defence is separate to the midfield and the midfield is separate to the attack. And you just hope for the best that the ball somehow gets from one section to the next. In this game, it really felt like Amrabat was doing a brilliant job of connecting the whole team. He was constantly supplying Garnacho on the left wing, but he was also finding Casemiro on a regular basis, Mason Mount on a regular basis, but also the centre-backs. He could also switch the ball to the far side. And that was really important. And that was a side to his game which I liked. He was just a connection point. And again, it's nothing flashy, it's nothing particularly entertaining. If you're a neutral, he's not the most exciting player in the world to watch, but as a manager, it's a player that you dream of because he just keeps the ball ticking over and he connects things. But what I also liked as well was, not only was he keeping the ball for his side, he was also providing attacking help by his switches of pass. Now, this is something which, when he signed, I was really excited about, because for me, he's one of the best long passers in Europe. Now, not only is he a good long passer, which is obviously hugely important, but it's how effortless it looks for him. It seems like even if players are quite tight to him applying pressure, because his long passing is so good and he just quickly shifts the ball out of his feet and then plays it, it doesn't matter if he's put under pressure. He can kind of absorb that pressure and still play the pass. Some players kind of take a few touches to really line up a long ball. They have to put a lot of effort into it. Amrabat, it seems like a pretty effortless, just kind of flip of the switch, play the pass out there, jobs are good. And that's a really good thing to see, because what it allows you to do, and this was United's real key tactical ploy in this football match, as we were discussing the other day, was to build the ball on one side of the pitch, quite often down the left-hand side in these deeper areas, to draw Crystal Palace over like this, who were defending in a narrow 4-4-2. And what this does is it frees up room down the right-hand side. It could have been Pellistri at times, it could have been Diogo Dalot overlapping at times. There were plenty of different players that it could be, but Amrabat's long passing was really good. Now, it wasn't just him doing it in this game. We saw Mason Mount do it in the build-up for the first goal. Casemiro done it well. Harry Maguire done it well. But of course, Amrabat, the new signing which we're looking at today, was the one who was doing it particularly during the opening 20 minutes. And again, if we go back to Once Video Analyzer Pro, the best video analysis software out there, we can see him doing these long passes time and time again with such ease. It's such a short kind of swing back of his leg. He just flicks the pass out really effortlessly. And I don't know, maybe it's just me. I find it really satisfying. Let me know if you agree in the comments. It's just something about how easily he does it is really satisfying to watch. It's not a big build-up. He just gets it. He flicks the pass out wide. And you can see that what this allows United to do is get players in space. Here, Diogo Dalot is the player which has received the switch. We can see how much time and space he now has on the ball. With someone like Facundo Pellistri maybe making an underlapping run, or Hannibal Mejbri coming shorter, it just allows United to attack space in a different way. And it's something which Amrabat done time and time again. Again, you see here, within 2 touches, he's got the ball, he's decided that the long pass is the best option, and he's executed it with near perfection, getting Facundo Pellistri into space. And again, look how much time he has on the ball before he's challenged. It allows United to draw pressure one side, open up space on the other side of the pitch, and then hit that space. It's a really useful weapon to have. Just got a couple more examples of it. Again, he gets the ball here, he decides that the long pass is the best option, and goes forward with it. And, oh, hang on, we just had a small glitch here. What I like about this, though, is the decision making, because we've seen already that he was capable of doing that short passing just to keep the ball, but also that when he felt it was on, he could be more direct with his passing and more expansive and help United move the ball forward. So those first clips we were looking at was all about keeping the ball safe, keeping possession for your side, dictating tempo, keeping the ball ticking over. This is now a bit more expansive and a bit more progressive with his play, switching the ball into attacking areas. These are much more attacking passes. Whilst they're still not all forward passes, because they're into space, they are attacking passes for United. And it's something which we saw time and time again in this game. And for me, it was just brilliant to see because it constantly allowed United to get into space and attack space. Now, the important thing to remember about this performance was that this is his first start, and I believe his first professional minutes, since the Conference League final last year. Or at the end of last season, I should say. He's played no pre-season, he's hardly trained, so to produce this level of performance was really good. In terms of moving forward, what I'd like to see a bit more is progressive passing along the floor. Perhaps we would see that if he was in more of a midfield position rather than the fullback area. I would like to see more passes into, let's say, the feet of Mason Mount. Can you find his feet in here? Or maybe even the feet of the striker, whether that be Martial or Rasmus Højlund in the first team. That's something I'd like to see a little bit more. But again, this is a player just returning from injury with real match rust, producing such a good performance. He was also really, really good from a defensive point of view as well. His intensity when pressing is absolutely brilliant. And, you know, since he's signed for the club, I've gone back and watched more games from his past. He's a very, very intense presser. His mobility allows him to do this, and I hope people now realise what I'm talking about with his mobility, because it's something I've spoken about quite a lot, and people have kind of argued with me saying he's no more mobile than Casemiro. You know, he's not a very quick player. That means he's not mobile. I think you would have seen the other night just how much ground he covers. He's not only hard-working, he's intense in the way that he covers the ground. For example, there's a situation in the Palace game where the ball is down this side for Crystal Palace. Where's the ball? Here it is. So the ball's down this side for Crystal Palace. I think it was actually in the midfield, sorry. Basically, it's somewhere like this. Amrabat comes over, presses the ball. The ball gets played to the next player. Amrabat continues to press. The ball goes to the next player. He keeps pressing. He's absolutely relentless in the way that he presses. But also, he didn't look half bad turning when defending as well. Now, considering this was a left back, to see him pressing on the right wing, it might need tactical tweaking from Erik ten Hag. But the intensity was absolutely brilliant, and it really captured what United had done so well throughout the whole game. Defensively, the work rate off the ball was absolutely incredible, and it felt like Amrabat really led that. He also looked good in his defensive 1-versus-1 situations. Is he long-term going to be fullback for United? I'm not too sure. Ten Hag has said he can play there, but also said it's not his best position. Amrabat has said he'll play anywhere for the manager, even in goal if he needs to. So, perhaps we see him there more in upcoming weeks. It's probably something I might discuss later in the week, or maybe at the weekend, because I think it offers some real potential nice ideas for United to use moving forward. But it's definitely something which we need to look at. But defensively, I was really impressed with his performance as well. This was a game which United dominated, but he still stood out from a defensive point of view. But I think probably my favourite thing above everything which was spoken about in this video so far was the tactical flexibility he brought to the side. Now, yes, it was probably heightened because he played left back and also played against a side which wasn't too keen on putting a lot of pressure on the ball. As we said, Crystal Palace were regularly in a 4-4-2. But in literally the first 3 or 4 minutes of the game, we saw United using 3 or 4 different systems, and a lot of that was because of Amrabat. So, as we said in the video yesterday morning, we could see United in a 2-3 shape like this, where Amrabat is kind of a left back, a little bit tucked in. Quickly, it could become a 3-2 shape, like this, as Amrabat inverted into midfield to form a double pivot. That was a regular occurrence in the game. We could also see it working the other way around, where Amrabat would drop deep to one side of the centre-back, to form a back 3 like so. There were also situations where he was dropping between the 2 centre-backs, again forming a back 3. We saw him at times pushing higher, perhaps Casemiro would drop deep, Dalot would tuck in, and Amrabat was kind of in a left central midfield spot in what at times became a diamond shape in possession, which again is a way in which Amrabat is affecting the side because he's allowing the team to rotate. There were even times where he saw him quite wide on the left-hand side. Now, this is not his game at all, but it showed his tactical intelligence. He was constantly finding space, moving into different positions, and wherever he moved to, he looked really, really comfortable. And this was United's best performance in possession in terms of rotations. Now, rotations is an interesting subject. I've spoken recently that I feel like at times United rotate a little bit too much, and at times it puts players in uncomfortable positions. For example, when Luke Shaw rotates a lot, he's good in a left-back position, he can play left centre-back, and he can push high down the left-hand side. But when you ask him to invert into midfield, I don't like it so much. The same with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He can play as a wide right-back or an underlapping one, but inverting him into midfield, I'm not so happy with it. Ten Hag sometimes asks his centre-backs to move into midfield, which is okay here and there, but I don't like it all the time, certainly not from the two of them. With Amrabat and Dalot as the two fullbacks and Casemiro in midfield, it felt like that no matter what rotation United done, the player was comfortable in the situation that they were in, whether it was Garnacho playing wide or narrower, Mason Mount pushing high or dropping into the second phase, sometimes out wide. Maguire and Varane were always in pretty traditional centre-back positions. Casemiro looked comfortable in whatever role he was playing, and the same for Dalot as well. And I felt like this was one of the better things about the performance. And again, Amrabat really personified what United done well, and that's probably just how I'd sum up the whole game. I think Ten Hag will agree that this was United's best performance of the season so far. Everything United done well, Amrabat done well. Again, he really, if you could describe that United performance with one player, it would be Amrabat. So I think that's probably the biggest praise that I can give to him. Now again, of course, this was just his first start in several months now, his first minutes in several months. So he needs more time to get up to speed. We will see much better of Sofyan Amrabat, and that's perhaps the most exciting thing. At the same time, it's important to remember that this is a new player coming into a new culture, a new country, a new way of playing football, a new intensity of football. The Premier League will be very different at the weekend, for example. Crystal Palace will put out a better team. Will he play that game? Will he be left back? Will he be midfield? We don't know. So give him a little bit of time still. But definitely the early signs there are that Ten Hag will like him as a footballer, and I think the fans will like him as a player too. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. What did you think of his first performance? Has it been a little bit overrated? Has it gone under the radar a little bit? For me, I thought he was absolutely brilliant. He got the best out of players around him and highlighted what Erik ten Hag wants to do with this side. But like I said, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Should he start this weekend? Again, let me know what you think. But apart from that, thank you guys for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. Hopefully, towards the end of the week, we will have better content because I'll have a bit more energy. My voice is going a little bit. So yeah, subscribe for that, get notifications on. But apart from that, thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.